Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to everybody in the chat. It is always wonderful to see you there. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in and check your subscribe button and subscribe if you have not. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult, where I recap the Scientology news that has the internet buzzing while also sharing about my 35 years in Scientology and how I left with 35, listen to me, in for 35 years, left with 3 generations of my family. Not 35. Good Lord. In fact, my grandchildren are the first generation in 4 generations of my family to never be in Scientology. And if you didn't catch it, I did a video last weekend with my grandson, Oliver, who, well, he already wanted to be a YouTuber, but now he definitely does because he had so much fun doing that and interacting with all of you. So thank you for everybody who joined that and who super chatted him. He was over the moon about that. It was so cute. So cute. So cute. He totally wants to do it again. Hello. Thank you so much to my mods. Nancy's here this morning. My Tony. If you have a question as we go along, put question in all caps and have your question follow. We're going to cover a lot today. We're going to cover Scientology protest news, not just across the country, but also in Australia. There's things bubbling up down under, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about a little bit of potential Tom Cruise drama. There's an actress who made a statement, and it has us wondering, is she talking about Tom Cruise? I don't know. She might be. Of course, that is what we are going to speculate. I'm going to share that with you. We are going to touch on a bit of Oh No Nora. Oh no. Oh no, Nora. Oh no. Nora shared some information. It's a bit more in the Mike Rinder saga. We're going to touch on that because I got so many emails about it. So many. And more. Lots to go over. Also, Jay from Denver, who was detained by the police yesterday, is going to join us and tell us more about what happened and what is to come. So we're going to do that towards the end. So stick around for that. In the meantime, we are going to get to it. I think I covered my housekeeping. Subscribe, like the video. Oh, and thank you to everybody who's doing memberships. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate the support. Oh, I remember a piece of housekeeping. I'm going to change the schedule a little bit. I had mentioned before that I'm just working things out more so that I can do more videos and focus more on YouTube and also my business. So I'm going to probably starting tomorrow, instead of 7:30 Central Time in the morning, I'm going to do 8 a.m. Central Time to do these recaps, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Central Time. And on the weekend, I'm going to do them at 10 a.m. Central Time. It's going to help more with my work schedule and honestly, give me more time with my Tony in the morning because that is our prime cuddle time. And it's difficult when I get up at 4:30 and to get this set up and all that. It's a whole thing. So just getting more organized because this is a marathon, not a sprint. I'm here for the long haul. So let's make sure we can get all the bases covered. I will keep reminding you guys of that time change. I'll do notifications as well. So make sure you hit that notification button to help remind you. Jen Nelson, thank you so much for that. Natalie, Mother Nature in Minnesota finally realized it's still winter. Yes, we finally got a little bit of cold and snow, but it's going to be almost 50 today, and it's going to be in the 60s over the weekend. In my 30 years in Minnesota, I can't remember this happening, but here we are. And I got to be honest, I'm not hating it. It seems more like what I imagine Colorado weather to be like. All right, people. All right. We also have a Facebook page, a Facebook group for Scientology Life After a Cult. It's a great place to go and have more conversation after the lives. You can find it, Scientology Life After a Cult on Facebook. In the description of this video, there's a link to that as well. I'm trying to be good about sharing all those links so that different people don't have to email me and ask for these different things. I'm going to put them in every description of the video so we can all find it and we can all find each other. And it's getting fun over there too. All right. So we are going to jump into a little bit of Tom Cruise speculation. One of my favorite things. Is this girl talking about him? I don't know. But you listen and you tell me. So this is from Josh Smith. This is over on X. Josh Smith is a host of Rain with Josh Smith, the podcast. And this is Dune's Rebecca Ferguson, who reveals she refused to work with former co-star after being screamed at on set. This is reminder to always stand up for yourself. Listen to the full interview on my podcast, Rain Here, and he's got a link to the full interview. But we're going to just take a look at what she said, because this is also the actress who was in Mission Impossible, right, with Tom Cruise. So I don't know. You guys tell me in the comment in the chat what you think after let's give this a little look and a listen.
When do you think you've been proudest of using your own voice?
I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star. And this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out. And I think I was so vulnerable and comfortable that I got screamed at. And I would cry walking off set. This person would literally look at me in front of the whole crew and say, "You call yourself an actor. This is what I have to work with. What is this?" And I stood there just breaking. This happens. But because this person was number one on a call sheet, there was no safety net for me. So no one had my back. And I remember the next day I walked on and I said, "You get off my set." This is the first time I've ever spoken. I remember being so scared. And I looked at this person and I said, "You can F off. I'm going to work towards a tennis ball. I never want to see you again." And then I remember the producers came up and said, "You can't do this to number one. We have to let this person be on set." And I said, "But the person can turn around and I can act to the back head."
Wow.
And I did. I was so scared. I feel it now when I'm saying it. But from that moment, I have never let myself get to a point when I've got home and gone, why did that happen?
What do you think? Do you think she's talking about Tom Cruise? Tell me in the comments. Tell me in the chat. It would not be off-brand, let's be honest. Remember the screaming match that he got into with, wasn't it Christian Bale? And that was all caught on audio. It was intense. And we've heard multiple reports, too, of him behaving that way. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I just thought I'd share it and, speculate and see. Makes sense, though, I think. We shall see. Okay, let's go over to Trolling Scientology, where they are just trolling. Trolls be trolling. We're going to take a look at this because this is Scientology calls the Aftermath Foundation. It's very quick. It's very short. So you got to listen. Check it out.
Good morning.
Hello, you've reached the Aftermath Foundation. Please.
She goes, you hear the, hello, Church of Scientology, and then you've reached the Aftermath Foundation. Click. They're catching on, I think. I thought that was funny, and I knew I could use a little giggle in the morning. I hope that you guys could as well. I think that's so funny. Back in the day, we used to do crank calls we had the call waiting, which I know we still have that. But in the 80s, I remember being in middle school and you and your BFF would get on the phone and you'd call the boy you like, or you'd be on the line and you'd be quiet while your friend grilled him about whether or not he liked you to try to find out who he liked. Anybody else do that? Was it just a me thing or a Hawaii thing? All right, let's check out. I wanted to share a clip of an interview I did last night with Jeff Hawkins. Jeff Hawkins shared a lot of info when I wanted to leave Scientology and I was working on that really helped me a ton. He went on to write a book called Counterfeit Dreams, and he shares his firsthand account of David Miscavige physically assaulting him. I'm talking punching, okay? And he also witnessed, and he shares this in the video and in his book, multiple times when David Miscavige physically assaulted, and I'm not talking like just whack somebody in the hand. I mean, beat his closest senior executives in Scientology. Some of you may have heard this before. This information has been out for a while. His book came out a while ago, but being that there's so many people joining now and learning about Scientology and the abuses, I thought it would be great to share. And Jeff also, he was like the guy back in the day, back in the 80s, who was doing the Dianetics campaigns, which was probably the last time Dianetics was selling with any, notable numbers. And you got to hear this. Listen to this. I'm still reeling from this. I mean, I read the book, but hearing him say it himself, really hit me.
Said, this is good. You've got it. This will sell. And so I sent it up to Miscavige, some time goes by, a few days, and then I get called up to the conference room at CMON, which is this huge table in the middle of the CMON space there. Miscavige is on one side, and all of the Ant execs are facing him on the other side. This is the way he liked to conduct his meetings. He's on one side, and everybody else is on the other side. So it's like his stage.
Yeah.
And so I get up there.
It's like his stage. I don't know if you guys caught that. Miscavige does have his executives all on the other side of the table across from him, and he is the one up front, his stage. Narcissist much?
And I sit down across from him, and he picks up my script and he goes, "You guys seen the crap this guy's writing?" Slams down my script, and then he starts very sarcastically reading some segments of it. And I said, "What's that? That's just crap." And I'm thinking, what? This had just been declared to be good and saleable by the #1 infomercial writer in America. And I wanted to kind of give him some of that information, And I said, "Sir, if I could just," and then he just exploded. And he said, "You see how he looks at me? You see how he talks to me? Blah, blah. The only thing I want to hear out of your mouth is your crimes. That's all I want to hear from you. What are your crimes?" And I'm just like, what the heck is going on,
Yeah.
Because, frankly, I was Scientology's #1 writer at that time. And I had written this as a professional, that as something that would sell, And he's just reacting like a middle school bully.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "You see how he looked at me? You see how this guy looks at me?" And I'm like, what am I looking like? And all of the execs around me. This is the entirety of CMON exec strata. And they're all like, "Stop looking at him like that. Stop looking at him like that." And I'm like, what? And they're all cowed by him to this day. All of the international execs, who are none of them are on post anymore, but they're all completely cowed. And then he's a little guy. He's this little wiry guy.
Yeah.
He jumped up on the conference room table.
He jumped onto the table
With his feet on the table, ran across and launched himself at me and started hitting me on the face. And I fell to the ground. And my shirt had been ripped and all the buttons had been lost. They were all over the floor. And I was just laying on the ground, and my feet were entangled in his because of the way that he had launched himself at me and the way I had fallen. And he was like, "Let go of my feet," because my feet ended up around his.
Yeah. Amazing. Horrific. Everything. Check out the video if you get a chance. He goes into more detail about how David Miscavige physically assaulted other senior executives that he witnessed firsthand. He also talks about how Mike Rinder got the most beatings by David Miscavige. He seemed to be particularly fond of abusing Mike Rinder. It's and his book, Counterfeit Dreams, you can get it on Amazon. It's a great book. It's disturbing, but again, these are the things. This is why we do this. This is why we're exposing Scientology. These are the type of abuses that have happened and are happening and that need to stop. So we're going to keep talking about it until it does. And thank you guys for being here too to talk about it. Now, Jeff over at PTS for Life shared some news yesterday. Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology also did a video about this. This was very interesting. Jeff is really working hard. If you have not subscribed to him, please get over there and subscribe to his channel as well, PTS for Life. Let's just pop and take a little listen, then we'll talk about this.
Happened. And essentially what happens is they send out these information packages to all these mayors and councils and whatever, asking to have a day named after them. And
this is for L. Ron Hubbard Day. Scientology sends out to mayors, city councils all over the place. They just throw out a bunch and hope somebody bites, and people do, and do a proclamation about this. And this happened in Florida, and the mayor was then, people called him out on it. What the heck are you doing? And then he rescinded the proclamation.
Most of them look at it and say, no way. Every now and then, however, one slips through the cracks. It's more of a shotgun blast, and hopefully they hit a target. And unfortunately, in this case, it was this mayor, Santiago Avila Jr., and he's the Deltona mayor. And so he says, after making this proclamation and rescinding it, he says, after careful consideration and in alignment with my commitment to honor individuals who have positively impacted our community, I am announcing the rescinding of the proclamation of L. Ron Hubbard. I think that's hilarious, and Scientology does not like this one bit. It was never his intention to recognize Mr. Hubbard, and moving forward, he will implement new proclamation guidelines to ensure that our proclamations reflect the values and priorities of the citizens of Deltona.
Yeah, he will. You bet he will. This is something really interesting. If any of you at home, right, if you're not comfortable going out and protesting, or that's just not your jam, but you want to be able to contribute to this movement of exposing Scientology, one thing that you can do is go and research. It's not hard to find, because when Scientology does press releases about these openings that they have, after the fact, they'll say, oh, and this speaker was here and that speaker was there. Call them out. I'm going to share another video from New York, where there's a person who is doing this in New York, saying like, hey, I saw that in 2016, you shared this support for Scientology publicly. Are you aware that A, B, C, D, and all these things? And, and call them out on it. Do you still support the Church of Scientology now that you know these things about the abuses? I want to, maybe somebody has already done this. If somebody could, that'd be great, so that I don't have to do it. But if we could come up with even like a list of the different organizations that have already opened, and we can find these press releases, find them before Scientology takes them down, and see who are the city leaders that showed up and shared their support for Scientology. And here's the interesting thing. When you hear their speeches in different cities, in different states, they're oddly the same, as if somebody wrote it for them. I'm just saying, maybe Scientology even said, let us make it easy for you. We're just going to write it. You just got to read it, or just go, here's some talking points. Just add your own stink on it. But that is something that I think would really make an impact and hold leaders accountable for their support of Scientology. Give them the opportunity to say, oh, I didn't know. Okay, well, now you know. Now you know. So that's my 2 cents on that. I'm going to keep bringing it up because I think it's something that, many you do it from your computer. You can do it from home. And I think it would be very impactful. And if somebody is interested in pulling all that information together, please connect with me, Natalie at lifeafteraccult.com. I'm also creating a website for the YouTube channel and a place where people can find resources for stuff like this, just a little bit more central location, and we can add it in there as well. And I think it would be absolutely fabulous. Okay, we're going to jump over. Oh no, Nora. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, Nora. She brought something up that is very interesting. Now, here's the thing. Hold on a second here. And I just feel like I need to say this. I got a ton of emails about this, about a couple of comments actually on Mike Rinder's blog. I totally get it, right? It's a continued response that is kind of tone deaf and whatnot. Right now at this point, I just feel like it's a personality type. Every content creator across YouTube Across any platform, you have different types of personality, and some people are just who they are, and they're not going to change, and that's how they're going to do things. Here in the SPTV community, we have a lot of different personalities, and that is a beautiful thing because people can connect with different people in the way that just feels organic to them. And there are people where it feels organic and they feel connected to Mike Rinder, to Mark and Claire, and the way that they communicate. That is fine, because there should be somebody for everyone kind of thing, if you're tracking with me. Am I a fan of the way that these responses have come out? No, I don't agree with them at all. And I think there's a much better way to do it. And you've heard me voice that opinion. And I hear it also a lot from people who are emailing me and have concerns about it. But at this point, I don't think it's something that's going to change, because it's just personality. And we don't like it, but some people like it. But being that y'all keep emailing me about it, we will keep talking about it. And oh no, Nora, just in the way that Nora can, let's see here. Let's go look at this. Let's just take a look at this and we'll talk about it. So this is on her community page on Oh No Nora's channel. And she did a response to a few comments that were on Mike Rinder's blog, and I am including a link to his blog in the description as well. He's still writing about exposing Scientology in multiple ways. And so here's one of the comments. I wish there were upvote icons so I could upvote your comment. So many people, many of them never in, are doing YouTubes about Scientology. You and the board, Danny Masterson, and the reason is for subscriptions. My understanding, or you know what, actually, I might have to pull this up so I can read the whole thing. Because when I click on that, I couldn't read the whole thing. So let me just see if I can find it here. The gist of it is basically the person was kind of saying that, well, people are making money on YouTube. And it's kind of like, well, yeah. And so there is an and to this, and let's share it. So she's kind of talking about that. And then Mike Rinder responds with ASL, Aaron Smith Levin has created a cottage industry. He tells people they can make 20 to 40,000 per month. He's making a lot more than that. They are making a lot less. He has them on his YouTube channel and tells his subscribers to subscribe to their channel. They almost instantly have the ability to make money. And then he, like I said, when I click on this, it's not showing the whole thing, but he goes on to say that, that then Aaron tells people who to subscribe to and then who not to subscribe to, which is totally not true. I've not heard Aaron ever say unsubscribe to these people. I just think it's interesting. Nora's got a great take on it. So this whole idea that, oh no, we can't have people, making money, sharing their own story, but it's okay for Mike to make money, sharing people's stories and his own story. And it is, he should. Frankly, my opinion, I think people should make all the money that they can exposing Scientology. Why not? It puts them in a position to be able to work more on it, because many SPTV creators, I would say most, have other jobs as well, right? And any way that we can support them means more time that they can put into exposing Scientology. It's almost like he doesn't know how social media works, what a content creator is. It's somebody who makes money creating content on the internet, and then people share it. It's like somebody who, like the news, right? The news on legacy media. They get paid. They have sponsorships who pay for them to deliver the news. It's a little baffling, but enough about what I think. Let's go and talk more about what Nora thinks, because she just says this so well. Oh no, Nora. Well, here we go again. For some reason, with Mike Rinder starting something that he definitely won't be able to finish. Mike. I'm sorry, but now since you were talking about money, you brought it into the conversation. Let's talk about it. Did you or did you not make millions of dollars highlighting other people's trauma on your show, in which you were the co-host and executive producer for Leah Remini's Scientology and the Aftermath? Do you still receive dividends from reruns of that show? Do you get paid as an expert witness to testify and speak at engagements due to your high-ranking knowledge from being the head of OSA and LRH PPRO for decades? Did you get a book deal just because of your name, former rank, and association with Leah? How much money have you made from that? Should you be the only ex-member to make actual income after leaving Scientology? Or is that just for the executive level defectors? Why do you hate other exes being successful? You aren't the gatekeeper of our stories or our lives. We deserve any money that we earn doing this, and so does everyone else that is out there protesting the cult you built. They're doing the hard work every day, every night to take this cult, to take down this cult. You should be helping them instead of trying to tear them down. Growing up in Scientology hasn't even told one person to unsubscribe from you, not once. Unlike Scientology, people get to make their own decisions. I am positive that none of these questions will be answered since you showed the world you are incapable of answering a woman's questions. But get real, Mike, and get over yourself. You think this song is about you. Sorry, we have way bigger fish to fry. Too bad you're not invited to the barbecue. Oh, no, Nora. I feel almost like being a little bit of a broken record. There are comments and things that are tone deaf, but there's an audience for the style, the way he does blog, and people who follow and subscribe to him. There are people who more connect that way, and there are people who more connect with Aaron growing up in Scientology or other SPTV creators. There are going to be these different ways, and there's always going to be some level of disagreement. The difference today, I think, from previously in this community, which really is fairly new when we talk about the ex-Scientology community and SPTV and all of you beautiful never in Scientology that have been helping and supporting, is just that. You people never in Scientology that have been helping and supporting to elevate these voices and to show support. Do you know how, I know you guys know this, it is difficult often to talk about these horrific things that have happened to members, these people who grew up in Scientology, myself included. That's hard enough to show up and talk about it. Yes, they should be supported. And with that support, they're able to do it more, even if it's just a like and a subscribe or a supportive comment, right? It doesn't need to be monetarily. These are all forms of support that help do this, that help expose Scientology and, frankly, other cults. Because the more you learn about Scientology, often you think, oh my goodness, wait a minute, I felt that way. I found myself in a position with this group, this relationship, whatever that controlling influence was that's over you. So I think it's just going to continue. I don't think it's, you know what, you keep emailing me about it. I talk about what has the internet buzzing. We will continue to address it. But I just don't think it's going to change because it's differences in personality. Definitely. Now, one other, let's see here. What do we got to? If you go to his blog, you can see the full comments on there and some other ones as well. I got multiple emails. There were emails, people. There were a lot of emails about this. So you can go see it on his blog. And I'll be honest, he's got great content there too, exposing Scientology. Yeah, so there we go. That is that. Meanwhile in California, in Hollywood, y'all remember, of course you do, our friend Patrick Perry, and I say friend sarcastically. He was spotted outside. He was spotted before with his body cam. And this creator, links down below to all these videos so that you can follow these creators as well, just shares this short little clip of seeing him out there. This is Just Doug, and he spots Patrick Perry with his dog with his body cam now. So he's going around with a body cam. And if you don't know, this is the man who attacked Aaron Smith Levin growing up in Scientology when he was in Los Angeles some weeks ago, and Aaron was detained for several hours by the police. And he also, Patrick here and his dog, attacked multiple protesters. Of course, it was, he did not get in trouble for that. But check it out. You can tell he sees just Doug across the street, and so he turns on the body cam.
Got his body camera on. That's the guy that attacked Aaron.
Isn't it cute, though, how he's walking down the street and recording him? I'm recording you, recording me, recording you, recording me. And what's going to be really funny is when his body cam footage gets subpoenas for some shenanigans that he pulls for the next time he attacks a protester. And then it's just going to backfire. That's the beauty of live streaming and catching these things. People are seeing it. You know, they're seeing it in real time with their own eyes. And let's see, Chris Without a Hellcat and LA Cam were handing out cookies for Scientology in front of the Hollywood Testing Center. I bet Scientology love that. It is Girl Scout cookie season, by the way. Get out and support your local Girl Scouts. These were not Girl Scout cookies, though, because I don't think anybody should be giving those away. Those are gold. Those are gold. So this is interesting because they came across this couple. It sounds like, you can't hear them, but it sounds to me like, well, you can hear them a little bit. They were saying that the young lady's family is in Scientology, that they had done some courses, but the family member in Scientology is very high up. And I did not recognize the name that they gave, but, you know, I've been out of the game for 13 years when it comes to being actually in Scientology. So let's take a look at this.
What's your?
Yes.
No way. What tier are you?
No, I don't know.
Israel.
We are not like in close tier or something, but her family is like.
Wow. What's the name of your family? I probably know them. Rakanati? No.
Wait.
Okay.
Elga? What's the last name? Kroskov? Rakanati.
Are they related to Miscavige?
Miscavige? Have you?
Maybe last.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, maybe they.
So they're Scientologists? Oh, no way. How long? Wow. I love that. Yeah. I remember when we met Miscavige, dude.
Yes.
That was crazy. Yeah. So yeah, we're doing this for Scientology TV. Let me see. Nah, I don't know her. No.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her either, but like I said, I've been out of the Scientology game for quite some time. Maybe somebody else does. They're out there handing out cookies and saying it's for Scientology, and do people want to join the cult? It was hilarious, super hilarious. Denise Dolphins, thank you so much for becoming a member and joining the membership. Thank you. It was funny. Those guys are always out there. You know, it's that, you know, let's bring some fun to it, and then let's also educate at the same time. I love how there's just different ways of doing it, and they're out there doing it. Now, Scientology Audit Streets LA, they were at La Poubelle. And I just thought this was funny. Somebody left a little gift on somebody's car, or maybe that person left it there. I don't know, but let's give this a little look and a listen.
What's up? Why? Who put that there?
He told me that earlier that it's probably this person has a dog and they didn't pick up after the dog.
Whoever did that is a hero of mine then. Because you're going into the rape shop, huh? Shame on you guys. Shame on you, buddy. I hate people who don't pick up their dog crap.
That's what you do.
That's how you do it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. In the past, I was walking, I'm like, you're not gonna pick it up, and I always have bags in my pocket because I'm always out. And I picked it up and I walked over and I took it with a handful. And I put it right into their chest.
Can't you see Streets doing that? I think this is yours. Boom. And guess what, people? This evening, 5:30 Central Time, I'm going to have Scientology Audit Streets LA, William Good on for an interview. And I am super excited about it because, like many of you, I am a good girl. Bring your questions. It's going to be fun. I've been wanting to talk to him for a long time. This is going to be my first interview with him, and I honestly cannot wait. And I hope you guys can catch it live, 5:30 Central Time this evening. But otherwise, catch it on the replay because it's going to be fun. Mama's Life. Hey there. Everybody say hi. Go over, subscribe to her channel. She's been doing a great job sharing her take on multiple things, especially the whole Mike Rinder thing. And I've really been enjoying catching up on her content. We're going to jump over to Chicago because there's a lot going on over there. And this was, let's see, link down below. But check this out. This is in front of Chicago. The police came, and there's this young lady who is a Sea Organization member who was attempting to, get trashy V12 BMW out of there. But he has a right to videotape. And she makes a couple claims about what Scientology is doing in there and what's being interrupted. And I don't think so. I call liar, liar, pants on fire. But you guys listen and you tell me.
It's fine. I know he can film, and that's okay. He can be on the public sidewalk. My problem is him harassing our parishioners as they come in.
Okay.
His communication is very derogatory about our church,
Okay.
and that's my problem. It's like a little bit like, harassing. They're not wanting to engage. And he just follows them and has all these.
So right now you're conducting a service, or sort of
Yes, all day. All day. We have parishioners come in, and we want this to be a safe place for them to come.
Okay.
And it just makes it very uncomfortable.
So she's claiming that there's worship going down in there. The conversation goes on, and the officer's like, "Oh, when is your worship?" She's like, all day, all night. We're in there worshiping all day and all night. No, you are not. Like I said, liar, liar, pants on fire. You tell me in the chat in the comments. Does Scientology worship? No, they don't. I was in Scientology for 35 years. There is no worship. It's a pay-to-play business. You pay for courses. You pay for services. You pay for Scientology auditing, which they consider to be counseling. It is not. There's no worshiping going on. But they say that because they want to paint this narrative that worship is being interrupted because they're a church. No. We see you. We see you. We know what's going on. And you know who else sees you? Shannon sees you. Shannon in Chicago and friends is going to continue exposing Scientology, and we are here for it. She was on, I think it was Doug Landsman. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing that the wrong way. Just wanted to share this with you. There's a clip for the full interview down below where she's talking about what's coming up in Chicago, and it sounds like he's going to be there as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's on all the levels.
You guys, on
Impressed.
the community tab of my YouTube page has free OT levels. All of the OT levels on a QR code.
Very cool.
If you don't want to pay a cult, just come to my website, my YouTube page.
Learn a lot from it.
So while I was reading this, I thought, this is nuts. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I remember reading something about, that Satan's, that Scientologists now, when they drop the body, they go up into the atmosphere somewhere and they get some kind of a memory wipe.
So she is referring to what L. Ron Hubbard said is the implant station, and that after you drop the body, pass away, that a Thetan, if you don't do the entire Scientology bridge to total freedom, this is what they're trying to avoid, going to the implant station and having all of your memories wiped. And then you go back down and you pick up another body that's being born and you continue on with that lifetime. But this is why Scientology says you can't remember your previous lifetimes without being guided in Scientology auditing too, is because of these implant stations. So avoid the implant stations, people, at all cost. That's what Scientology is trying to do. Keep us out of the implant stations. You know what one of my favorite things is seeing people who've never been in Scientology embrace the terminology and using it correctly and sharing some of the crazy things, which maybe to some people that's not crazy. So fine, I'll give you that. But yeah, I love it. I'm so here for it. I think it's so fantastic. Now, earlier I was telling you about reaching out to our local leaders, especially those who have showed up at Scientology events, to rah L. Ron Hubbard and rah Scientology. There's a guy, Smooth Steve SPTV. I shared a clip of his, I think yesterday, calls out New York State's Secretary of State, Robert J. Rodriguez, for showing Scientology support in 2016. And get over to his channel and subscribe. Watch his video. Watch this whole video because he really lays out why he decided to do this, how you can do it as well. But we're going to just take a little look.
New Yorkers, particularly as a person in such a powerful position to clarify your statements that you made in 2016 and the support you gave Church of Scientology in 2016. I hate to say it, but it is truly a badge of dishonor to have shown up to that event. Scientology feeds off of powerful, influential people co-signing their good works, which on the surface may look harmless and mundane, but in reality are all a front for a larger child trafficking, money laundering conspiracy that I hope you educate yourself on learning more about.
It's so great. And he's going to share if he gets a response. But again, that's a great example of what you can do to reach out and go, hey, did you know these things about Scientology? Here's some information. Actually educate these elected officials and give them an opportunity to rescind their previous support, or at a minimum, just have an understanding of what Scientology really is and not fall for it again. You're being lazy, politicians, if you're not looking into the groups that you're supporting. Or are you looking into it and you know and you're supporting it anyways? What are you getting from Scientology to do that? I'd like to know. Start asking. Let's ask. Let's ask. We're gonna be chatting with Jay in just a few moments from Denver, and we're gonna find out what happened when he was detained. But I want to put on your radar things that are happening in Australia, in Perth, in Melbourne. I think somebody told me that's how you say it. I think that was it, Melbourne. And you should know about it. It's stuff to keep an eye on. I have a few videos down below that I've not shared, but I wanted to link them so that you guys could, have it on your radar and be aware of what's going on, especially if you're in Australia and you want to connect with any of these people, because there's a lot going on.
Outside of orgs and on the streets, we'll start seeing book sales, personality tests, stress tests. They'll be handing out pamphlets, much like the one I got from the Perth org the other day. If you want to capture this, you'll have to start getting ready. If you want to set up a YouTube account and to be able to live stream, you need 50 subs. And once you even get that, it takes about a week for YouTube to get their act together. So set up your YouTube, send it through to me, and we'll promote it and we'll get those subs and set up.
So there is a link down below. There's also, this is in Perth. There's an event coming up if you are near Perth in Australia, and they're targeting kids. Big surprise. Big surprise. Drug-Free World Open House Community Event with the Foundation for a Drug-Free World, which is a Scientology front group. I know because when I was in Scientology, I worked with them and this program and thought, oh, this would be great to educate people about the harmful effects of drugs, only to find out when I reached out to the Foundation for a Drug-Free World, they just wanted to sell me books, Scientology books, didn't actually help me. They did send me booklets, which other people paid for, but total front group for Scientology. This is on Sunday, March 10th in Perth. Link down below where you can find the contact info for the people who shared that. Isn't that kind of cool, though, that there's a lot going on in Australia? Melbourne, Perth, Scientology protests is totally going international. I love it. I love it so much. All right, we're going to talk about Denver. We are going to talk about Denver because Jay, who we've seen many times in Denver, and Mexican long hair, we've seen him out there too, was detained yesterday. So I'm going to bring Jay on. Everybody, welcome Jay to the main stage.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see y'all. Hope y'all are well. Hey there, Natalie. Nice seeing you.
You too. Hip, hip, hooray.
Hip, hip, hooray, yes. And good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Who knows who's watching out there in the world across the seas. So it might be in the evening for somebody right now.
Exactly. You had an eventful day yesterday.
Yeah, I did. It was quite crazy. And I just want to start off with saying I want to apologize to everybody. There was a large amount of adrenaline that I had experienced, and I had a little bit more of a reaction to the circumstance than I was expecting myself to. So when we see the footage, y'all might be like, I've never seen that from Jay. I didn't know he could cuss. Yeah, it just, it just felt like the right response for the situation. But yeah, it was another call on me.
Yeah, that's like I think people can appreciate that, but you really don't need to apologize. You were unlawfully detained by the police and handcuffed after a false call was made about you, saying that you had weapons on you. That is such a dangerous situation to be in. And you had every right to react the way that you did. And frankly, I thought you kept it together.
Yeah, no, I was definitely like feathering that line. There were some times where I was like, oh, reel it in, Jay, or, you don't want to get in trouble with saying anything and incriminating yourself or saying something that could incriminate yourself. So it's hard to like go through that experience and like make sure you're saying the right things and not trying to like get locked up. So
yeah, get yourself in more trouble. Yeah, but as I have learned since leaving Scientology, you got to feel the feelings, and having a reaction that might feel like it's negative is actually often an appropriate reaction to something. And so yeah, feel those feelings.
Yeah.
But I give you credit. I thought you held it together. I'm going to share a little bit about some of the video here, and then let's see here. I'm going to keep an eye on you. Maybe just like I'll pause the video, just, raise a hand or something there and I can pause it. So here at this point, you're outside Scientology Denver. You're holding a sign above your head because you're out there protesting. And by the way, legendary props for continuing to protest while you're handcuffed.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I did that until like I was watching it back and people were commenting saying like, that was awesome when you were protesting and handcuffs. Like it just felt right again. Like I knew that I should be free at the moment. I knew I didn't break any laws and they were, infringing upon my freedom. So
no, it was so great. It's like you're there handcuffed, hand behind your back, telling the officers like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Scientology's a cult. And then right back to what you're doing. That's some next level. That reminds me of like mom skills, right? You could have a conversation with a friend and be like, yeah. And then we went to the movies and then you better put that down. And then we said,
That's too funny.
It's totally what it reminded me of.
Pretty much at this point, they were staged behind this black car, and there was 3 units, and 2 of them were like discussing something, and then there was one guy with glasses who was right next to that black car, and he was just staring me down the whole time. And then there was a moment when I saw one of them put gloves on, so then that's when I knew they were coming to make contact with me.
Oh yeah, when they're putting the gloves on, you got to wonder what's going to come next. Usually, nothing good follows gloves being put on. Just nothing good comes from that. So let's play this, and then you let me know when you want to kind of explain.
Okay, that's fine. My hands are already up. Keep them there. Keep your hands up. I will do as I need. Okay. I'm about to keep my hands up. Now you're gonna rip me down. What? Can you tell me what you need from me before y'all just start ripping me around? You're being detained right now. And for what? Because we believe that you
so that was kind of interesting because I had like asked before they were detaining me if if there was anything going on, if I'm being detained, and they were like, no, there's nothing going on, blah blah. And then they started approaching me, and then like I realized, okay, yeah, no, I'm being detained. But if you go like in the full live stream, there was a point when they were like trying to like tell me that I wasn't being detained, and then they changed it really quick.
Trying to backpedal on that.
Yeah.
Surprise. The handgun in your waistband. So you have reasonable articulable suspicion that I have made that call. Yes. And I do not consent to any sort of procedures to leave my property at where it is.
So apparently they were stating that I had called in that I myself had a knife and a gun in my waistband. So already like it's already not making sense. And they said one of the reasons that I was led, like they let pretty much because I was drinking tea. So whoever reported the call said that he's drinking tea or something along that nature. So with me having tea out there and just being, protesting, that was enough for them to have reasonable articulable suspicion, which I feel still wasn't enough. Even still today, I don't think that it was enough to like detain me, because at this moment you could see that they're frisking me, they're searching me. So at this moment, they are now understanding that I do not have the weapons that have been reported. I'm not a threat. And, now you're trying to link me to making the phone call. So now I'm trying to understand that reasonable articulable suspicion that I am the one that made the phone call. Like, how about you call the number back right now? Let's see if my phone rings. Why don't you see where the cell phone tower pinged off of? Like I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to even say those things. And here I am being accused. And
Yeah, so they have you in handcuffs, and they pretty quickly see that because they check you, right? They frisk
Right.
you, that you do not have these weapons on you per this claim. All you have is the tea that you were drinking, which somehow triggered somebody.
yeah, my freedom tea. That's what I had called it. It's my freedom tea, and that's a merch item that's we're going to be figuring out here soon. Some
Oh,
freedom
I
tea
love
merch.
that. I love that. I love tea. I will buy your TJ.
Yeah.
So after they figure out, like, okay, there's no weapons, you're saying they tried to pin the call on you to say that you called 911 to say you had these weapons on yourself.
Correct.
And just that, I mean, I just don't see the logic in that.
Right.
How that even makes sense.
Right. It was definitely crazy.
So let's move forward a little bit here. Hold on, let me get us back there.
The cuff's tighter than you'd be.
So at this point, they're just trying to get information out of me. And I'm being, I'm just like trying to make it clear that I'm not going to contribute to their investigation. So if they were to ask me a question that had an answer in it, I would let them know, you just answered your question with asking me that, you just answered your question with that, asking me that.
Yeah.
Like, why are you asking me if this has happened before when you clearly already know? Why are you asking me, like all these different things that, there was something that had been said that was something like, I can't remember, but they were trying to say that I had told them something, but in reality, he had told me I had said that. And I know for a fact I didn't say that. So it was something along those lines, just trying to put words in my mouth, essentially.
Yeah. And they know what time the call was made. Did they then check your live stream and see that at that time you were not on a phone? You were standing there with a sign above your head.
Yeah. So that's another good point to bring up, Natalie. There was actually a point where all their investigation, they're conducting their investigation, whatever. And I hear them say in the distance, oh, we reviewed the live stream. He didn't make the call. And the guy who said that, he walked up to me and I'm like, okay, like now I know that my rights are completely being violated. I'm being detained. I'm not a free citizen. I'm like, that's a form of arrest. Being detained is a form of arrest. And, why am I still being detained when all the facts are clear as day? I didn't make the call. I didn't have weapons. You stated it loud and clear for everybody. And you still are here trying to find out what my name is, even though I haven't committed a crime. There's no like reasonable article of suspicion for me to be able to produce my identity. And there's no need for me to produce it if I haven't committed a crime. I know that I didn't. So, that was kind of like a little bit of semantics, like, well, you need to provide your ID and whatnot. Well, it's like if I committed a crime, absolutely, but I know for a fact that I'm like fully within my legal rights, and y'all are violating my rights right now. So I'm not going to provide my identity. Y'all conduct y'all's investigation as y'all need to, and I wouldn't recommend everybody does that. Like everybody, needs to be self-regulating, and it's intense, especially in the moment, right? It's not a joke. And if they really wanted to, they could have just taken me down for the ride regardless. And then, dismiss charges just like we've seen. So pushing that barrier isn't always the smart thing to do. Our goal is not to be arrested as protesters. Our goal is to spread their awareness and stop the cult, right? So all this other stuff is just like drama. It's like, it's extra noise, and it's just making themselves look bad in the whole process.
Yeah. I love that, like I said, that you kept protesting while you were handcuffed when somebody would walk by. So they figured out that you didn't have a weapon on you. They looked at the video. They knew that you hadn't made the call because at that time you had your hands up in the air. Yet you're still detained for quite a bit longer than any reasonable reason or amount of time.
Right.
And of the multiple officers that were there did seem to be one who kind of like realized that, ooh, we messed up. Talk a little bit about that.
100%. Yes, absolutely, Natalie. So that was very interesting because in the beginning, he was very forward about the investigation, trying to get information out of me, trying to get me to talk and say certain things and like, agree with him or whatever. And then there's a certain point when I think I was just speaking too much of the truth of what the reality was in the situation. And it was clear as day, his body language, his facial expressions, he could barely look me in the eye. Like he knew every moment of that interaction was wrong. He probably knew that after I got searched that I should have been released and that everything after that was not okay. And then especially when the investigating officer says out loud that I was not the one who made the phone call and I'm still being detained. Like, and I'm there like animated, like, why am I still detained? You just told me, you just said out loud that I did not make the call. You already searched me. I don't have any weapons. Like, this is the second time that I've been swatted. Like, how can you not understand that I'm not the one making this phone call? Like, why would I put my life in jeopardy? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I have a loving family. I have, there's an incredible community who stands behind all of us, not just me. And, I have so much to continue on and, want to provide for myself and others, right? So, yeah, it doesn't make sense, the logic that I would call it myself, right?
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't past Scientology to be trying to paint a narrative with the police that you were mentally unstable in some way. And that is a very common practice of theirs, is to convince authorities, whether it's city officials or actual police, that the person who is protesting is mentally unstable. So to paint this narrative that you would call the police on yourselves, that you would do that because somebody who might be struggling with severe mental health issues, that could happen. Right. So even if they were doing that, number one, Scientology, the police, like if it was somebody that you thought, needed help. And secondly, this person says it best here. Will's free. J is OT8.
OT8, I like that. That might be a special run of the Freedom Tea. The OT8.
Yeah, because you're drinking tea out there. And the thing that blows my mind the most is, like I said, once it was determined you had no weapons, and especially that you didn't make the call, why were you still being detained?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, they're clearly displaying their ego. They're clearly not able to admit they're wrong. Any good man is able to admit when they're wrong. They're able to stand up in front of the people who they're wrong in front of and say, hey, look, guys, I apologize. I'm learning from this. We're going to grow from here. Right? Yeah. Like, when you're standing there, like, mad dogging me after you just made yourself look like a fool and you have me in cuffs just because you have the power to. Yeah. And like, clearly everybody, even your fellow officers know that this is messed up. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Liz. You're awesome. Yeah, it was shocking because it felt like there were so many different opinions on this detainment from the police. So I had like one of them who was like I believe a corporal, and he was super cordial. He was like he wasn't trying to like pry information. He was just trying to conduct an investigation. Like, and I saw that and I mentioned to him, look, I appreciate you. I realize that you're not like trying to, you're not doing any of this weird stuff. I forgot how I said it, and then that other guy who had started initially to try and like get information out of me and, put words in my mouth and whatnot. Then he had realized once, he'd put it all together that, yeah, this is wrong. We need to let this guy go. Just shut up, stood there, couldn't say anything, couldn't look me in the eyes. He couldn't say whether it was right or wrong. He couldn't support what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then all of the were like, I'd say the majority of the other cops that were there, and there was 10 cops. I collected 10 business cards from these people. 10. It's crazy. 10 cops. Yeah. Wow. And so the other one, he was just like, yeah, I think he was upset because I had stood my ground and made it clear that I already knew my rights. I knew I wasn't in the wrong. Y'all need to do y'all's job and let me go. And I don't think that he appreciated the fact that I was completely within my rights that day.
Yeah. And you knew what your rights are. And I think that is such an important piece when it comes to really protesting anything, but especially Scientology, because they're so shady in what they will try to do to mess with critics of Scientology. They have a long history, goes back decades, of having people followed, of infiltrating the United States government. I mean, this stuff goes back for decades. So it
Yeah.
should not be, although even I am still surprised at times, like they did what? Even though I feel like with everything I know, it's like I should not be surprised. I'm still surprised because they don't learn. Someone, Fizzy, thank you so much for the super chat. Wants to know, please ask Jay about his camera setup with the front and back featured, because that was something that a lot of us had never seen before. You're live streaming, but you had the picture in picture at the same time, so you could see you. And big fan, I love that.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear the positive feedback. A lot of people have been commenting pretty positively on it. So it's a third-party streaming app called Streamlabs, and you could get it on mobile and on desktop. But the whole idea is like you have a few more options. It's kind of similar to Streamlabs. I mean, StreamYard. Yeah. So it doesn't have all the features of StreamYard, but it has different features, and one of them being picture-in-picture, chat on screen. There's all sorts of like cute little things that you could do with that one, but it's just a third-party streaming software. And yeah.
Yeah. Brittany says, yes, you can tell Jay was raised white. Now, of course, I got to ask, how's your mom? Did your mom see this? Is your mom okay?
Yes, mom is still navigating the, everything. Yeah, I mean, because I've never ever taken stance up against something. I've never protested. I'm always been very quiet to myself, homebody, like introvert. But yeah, mom yesterday was a little overwhelmed, to say the least, with the amount of support that the community put forth, and how connected we all are as a community, right? Because people see just the live stream. They don't know what happens in the back end. They don't know who's actually talking with each other, and who's keeping each other informed and making sure that we're all mentally where we need to be and whatnot. Like, even if that's my mom, even if that's somebody who I trust, relaying information to my mom, and having a positive conversation with her, that it's not just me. There's a huge support group of other people who are all trying to address the same issue, and it's only growing from here. Like, this is just the beginning. So we're all learning. We're all new to this. There's no right or wrong way to go and protest. As long as you're out there with a sign in front of the orgs, that is like just the basic, the bare minimum. Have a camera so you could prove what's going on. And, but other than that, we're just figuring it out as we go. But yeah, mom I need to call her again this morning. But when I last called her, she was definitely a little bit overwhelmed. I will not lie. And, just got to keep encouraging her and making sure she knows that I'm safe, and I know what I know what not to do, and I've been preparing, and just in case there was any issues where they do detain me and take me down and charge me with anything, like I'll have, I'm just trying to prepare everything, so if and when that does happen, I'm ready for that, right?
Yeah, that you got your bases covered. And I think it's really important for people, wherever you are protesting in the United States or outside, know what the laws are, because they do change. It's not the same in, say, Australia or Canada as it is in the United States. There might be similarities, but know for sure what the laws are, and don't break the law. Know what your rights are so you can stand up and advocate for yourself as well. And this is something that I think is so beautiful, that William Good, Scientology Audit Streets LA, and other people like Mexican Longhair, who have been practicing doing this First Amendment audit, bring to the table. And that's educating people, all of us, on what our rights are, where the lines are, and what we should be aware of that we have a right to if in these interactions with police. And I think it just helps both sides, because there are a lot of amazing law enforcement people across the country out there. They're not all corrupt and doing some of the things we've seen in the LAPD. Even with the LAPD, there are some good officers there as well. This is not an anti-police movement by any means, but it is we know what our rights are. We're making sure people are getting educated. And I think that's a big piece that people who come from the First Amendment audit space have brought. That combination of having these groups come together, I think is fantastic. And it really shows, because when you first started, you've learned too, and you know what they are. and you can advocate for yourself. And the whole thing's being captured with so many witnesses while it's going down.
Yeah, and they probably initially didn't realize it until like they put it all together, and I don't know how they found the stream, but they did. And one of the officers, they tried to dox me. I don't think it came up on YouTube, and I really don't care. Like, I mean, people are gonna find out who I am eventually. Like, that's just part of the nature of this business. I mean, I have no like. There's nothing in my past that I'm ashamed of. Everything that I've done in my past, I've learned from and grown from, and like it's nothing that would be jarring to anybody. There's not like, oh my God, Jay did what? No, like, oh, he was a kid, he did that. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, so yeah. With that being said, it was just kind of a poor attempt on his part to kind of like affect me in some way.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to what you were mentioning with the 1A community and the Scientology protest SPTV community, they really are just, they are just perfect for each other. They really do complement each other in every way. Because like whether it's with education or also, making sure that our rights aren't getting violated, all that stuff is just so important and awesome.
Yeah. And the beauty of it too, it's people who come from the ex-Scientology community or people who've already been protesting for a while that were never in Scientology, who are taking the time to learn and find out about the abuses in Scientology so they can speak with a lot of knowledge and educate people when they're out there who come across and go, hey, this is what Scientology is about. These are the abuses. This is why we are here. And then we all get educated on, hey, here are what your rights are. Here's what you need to know. And to be able to share, like, there's what Scientology as an organization has done in terms of their dirty tricks and their Office of Special Affairs, which used to be called the Guardian's Office back in the day, and all that they have a history of doing, so that you're aware and know. You just cannot, you got to not put these things past them. And it's so stupid. Like their tactics don't work.
No, they really, like, if anybody who's truly like involved with this and doing it for the right reasons, when you have that interaction, it's going to make you feel stronger. It's going to make you just feel more confident because you know you're in the right. If anybody who's doing something wrong is going to experience fear, they're going to be like shameful. They're going to not want to like be associated with it. So it's hard not to take pride in what you're doing when it's such a beautiful thing. And it is awesome being able to kind of like spread that word, because even people driving by will be holding the sign, right? And it says Scientology traffics children. And people will roll down their windows and be like, is that true? And I'm like, absolutely. Go to like Life After Cult, go to Growing Up in Scientology, go to like YouTube, SPTV, go to any of these channels and just take 10 minutes and you'll start to understand why I'm out here protesting almost every day. Yeah.
Exactly. I do it. And I love it. I appreciate the shout out. That was very kind of you. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, all the time. You're one of the first channels that I shout out to, like the anybody who's not involved with Scientology, or even some of the people who are like, actually, you could tell when people are like listening without like interacting, right? Or some people are just like completely tuning me out, like public Scientologists and whatnot. So I feel like your approach is super open and welcoming, and it's not like, it's informative and it's very digestible for anybody who's just getting into the SPTV community. It's a perfect starting place for them to start going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's what I hope to bring to the table, is kind of helping to bridge those things together and, and keep everything. There's so much, there's just so much going on. We definitely have in the live chat, a lot of people want this tea. So
the Freedom Tea. Yes. Mom and I are going to figure it out. And there will be a special edition run of OT8.
OT8, yes.
Yeah, OT.
You got to.
That was a great idea.
You got to let me know, and I know that we'll chat again, like I said before. And we have each other's contact info. Stay safe out there. People email me right. I got multiple emails right away when you were taken into cuffs.
Yeah.
What? And first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, his mom.
I know. I think as we continue down this path, it's going to get easier for her. And as she sees the support, it's going to make her feel more confident in what I'm doing. And she's going to be even more proud. And as the days go on, it's not that she's not proud. It's I think
Yeah.
it's only going to improve from here, is what I'm trying to say, as she
Oh, yeah,
understands
I
more.
know. It's just the mom in me always with people out protesting. I'm just constantly like, don't go alone. No,
Yeah.
you're right.
Guys, if y'all are out in Chicago, make sure y'all are supporting the streamers out there. It's the 3rd of March. They have the reopening in org out there. So please, if y'all can't make it out, make sure y'all are tuned in on the 3rd of March. Support all the streamers that are out there in Chicago, protesting the reopening out there, guys.
Yep, there is a few more actually. I'm going to share some news from. I'm going to let you go and wrap things up. I've got a few more
Awesome.
things to share. And thank you so much for doing what you're doing. And let's stay in touch and have you on
Yes.
again and check in.
Sounds great, Natalie. Thank you so much for your time, and y'all have a wonderful day.
Yeah, talk to you later. He's so awesome. He's so awesome. And make sure you get over to his channel, Denver Scientology Audit, and subscribe to Jay so you can watch in real time what's happening. I know I will be. A few things that I wanted to bring your attention to. Kim here is sharing protesting the Toronto org on Saturday, 8:30 a.m. Here's the address. Come join us at Scientology_is my ruin. Kim, I actually had your video pulled up and I was going to share it, but we ran out of time. So I'm so glad that you made this comment because I did want to share that. So thank you for that. If you're anywhere near Toronto, head over to her channel, subscribe, connect, and see what's happening. Melissa Garcia, thank you so much for becoming a member and hitting that join button. I appreciate that and truly appreciate the support. Surrounded by Scientology, that's George out in Clearwater. Good morning from Ground Zero, Clearwater, Florida. Great work. Thank you, George. I need to catch up on what's happening out there as well. Surrounded by Scientology is out there with Spit Clearwater, Lori Plays, Farrell, Cheryl, Magic Mike, and more. It's just growing. Tim is asking, do you think they will still announce that Deltona, Florida proclaimed March 13th L. Ron Hubbard Day without announcing that it was rescinded? It sounds like something they would do. Tim, it totally sounds like something they would do. And if you got here late today, we shared how in this city in Deltona, Florida, the mayor had proclaimed it L. Ron Hubbard Day on March 13th. And then somebody must have gone at him and he came to his senses and he rescinded it and was like, oh, no. I was just joking. No. We need to fix how these proclamations are being approved. This is a thing. Scientology sends out every year multiple cities trying to get these declarations of L. Ron Hubbard Day. Something to be aware of. Check with your city. Educate your city officials about Scientology because this is going to happen to them at some point. Somebody's going to come to them from Scientology and say, hey, we want to do this or that, or we want to proclaim and have it be L. Ron Hubbard Day. So wherever you are, as small or big as your town or your city is, get involved with your community, your city council, and bring it up. Do you guys know about Scientology? Whether you have Scientology in that community or not, because in that Clearwater community, there was no Scientology, but they were still about to declare Scientology L. Ron Hubbard Day. And we just need to keep educating. L. Ron Hubbard's birthday is March 13th. And here on the channel, we are playing the birthday game. Scientologists play this birthday game for L. Ron Hubbard. They get their statistics straight up and vertical, as they say. We are giving the gift of expansion here at the channel. And we're all working really hard to get to 20,000 subscribers by March 13th, L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. I know for sure we'll do it in March, but if we can get it by his birthday, that would make me so happy. Why? Because I'm petty and I know how much Scientology will hate it. And don't forget, people, join me tonight, 5:30 Central Time, or catch it on the replay. Scientology Audit Streets LA is going to be here on the channel. William Good, I finally get to sit down and have a conversation and ask him a million questions as well. So bring your questions for that. Bring your, if you're a good girl out there, like myself and my Tony, as he shared earlier. Hope to see you. I've been wanting to sit down and talk to him since the beginning. So I'm excited to be able to do that. Thank you so much for your support, for the people who are doing the memberships. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of you. Like I said, we are going to be changing the time of my recaps. Starting tomorrow, it's going to be at 8 a.m. Central Time. And on the weekends, 10 a.m. Central Time. You can always catch it on the replay because I need more cuddle time in the morning with my Tony. And so we're rearranging since this is a marathon, not a sprint. And life has got to keep going on. Laura, Grand rising, wonderful, Natalie, hearing that hip hip hooray and smile, because every day I'm reminded why I'm a dedicated never in. Laura, thank you so much. And thank you for being a dedicated never in. You know, I love my never ends. Tazzy, good girls assemble. Oh, that's so funny. Tanya says, I'm a good girl. Kitty, love street, selfless self street. Yes, absolutely. It's going to be great. I'm super excited about it. I really am. So thank you so much for being here, all of you, and all of your support. I will see you this evening. In the meantime, get out there and have the most amazing cult-free day.